Hello, me? A Godzilla fan? This is just light reading. I'm not an actual big fan. No. This? Oh, no, just... It was a gift. It's a gag gift. Now, excuse me as I... Oh, no, just... Okay, I have a little bit of a problem. What's your point?
Hail to the king, baby.
There comes a time in everyone's life when they grow up and eventually they watch something that shatters their mind and slowly that veil of childhood naivete dies. For many, it's probably something in their youth, probably a movie, whether it's The Land Before Time, whether it's staying up late watching Cinemax when they're not supposed to, or their parents are asleep and they forget to tell them. For me, I was a sweet and gentle enough 3 and 4 year old who is a huge, fantastic Godzilla fan. I loved it all. I loved the silly Showa stuff. I loved Godzilla doing the drop kick. But as I grew up and as I slowly began to realize the travesties of the world, man, there's some stuff that really fucked with me. Akira. What could have caused you early childhood trauma? It wasn't Land Before Time. It was not watching Skinamax. That was more when I was like 10 years old. And I wasn't traumatized. I was interested. For me, it was watching movies like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. And you might be thinking, why would that be traumatizing? I don't know. How about watching your childhood characters that you were growing up and really invested in? You were seeing them do goofy little silly battles all across Japan. Seeing those characters getting their jaws ripped open, bleeding, seizing on the ground. Just some minor things that, a 3 or 4 year old really should not be comprehending. For example, it would be like seeing Pikachu in that first season of Pokemon actually murder someone at the end of it all. I was introduced to Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, destroy all monsters. And there was no guise of it being super violent, people dying, murder, death. And then eventually I became 4 and 5 and I witnessed people dying in pretty crazy ways. And you think I'm kidding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a simple recap. A recap and my perspective of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and all of the crazy shit that made me go, whew. I was 5? I was 5 when this happened? I was 5 when I watched dudes get shot in the eye in a Godzilla movie from 1974? Let me set the scene for you. Japan. Everything's kind of dim. It's about the early morning. All of a sudden, explosions in the distance, and everyone's favorite punching bag, that is not Baragon, Anguirus shows up, and is roaring and screeching. Enter! Title crawl. And mind you, it's a pretty jazzy affair. You're swinging, you're getting along, you're getting jiggy with it, you're getting a little boogie going on. You just dance like this, like this, like this, like this. We cut to a ceremony at some temple. Don't remember the name of the temple. I was writing notes off the top of my head. Just deal with it. It's a temple. Are you going to really remember a temple in a Godzilla movie? Is that important to you? No, it's not. Said priest and priestess, who only shows up for about, maybe 5 to 10 minutes total screen time, though that priestess has a whole thing later on that... Said priestess is going through the motions, dancing like Yuno would in Final Fantasy X, dancing around, singing, before all of a sudden having a momentary seizure and shaking as visions come across her face. Not of porn, not of boobs, not of anything of particular value to a Japanese woman in Japan now, trust me, they're into some weird shit. Did you know they have actual tentacle machines over there? Shit's pretty fucking whack. She's having visions of Ghidorah, of monsters attacking and destroying the mainland of Japan and destroying the world. It has a prophecy, a prophetic vision. She passes out. We cut forward. Archaeologist, yes, going from priestess to archaeology, because that's a Godzilla movie. You mix the fantasy and the science pseudo bullshit, boom, Godzilla movie. That's how it works. Archaeologists are digging through a cave in Okinawa and they discover Okinawan hieroglyphics. They discuss about the ancient Okinawans and how they had foretold a prophecy of how 2 monsters would be needed to save the world. This ancient prophecy foretells of the use of an ancient creature, everyone's favorite one-off creature that is not Jet Jaguar. That's right, King Caesar. King Caesar and another monster. That means 2 monsters would be required to save the world. Meanwhile, Japanese Anton Chigurh, I'm not kidding, if you go back and look at Country for Old Men, and you look at Anton, and you look at this guy in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, they look almost exactly the same, exact same haircut. We don't know if this guy's a good guy or a bad guy. Anton, we all know that well. He's not the best guy in the world. Anyways, Japanese Anton's standing there and looking on like a pervert, a proper Japanese pervert, mind you, as this girl is beginning to study the ancient hieroglyphics and the artifacts that they got from the cave. One thing I noticed during these movies is that you really don't remember any of the actors' names. I really can't. If you can, more power to you. For me, I look at the characters' faces and I recognize their face. I can go, oh, I know, you're in that movie. Oh, you're in that movie. Oh, you're the general in at least 10 Godzilla movies. You know who I'm talking about. He's even in Final Wars. He drives the ship. Yeah, you really don't remember any of the main characters. You don't really remember any of the actors other than a couple of their faces, except for 2. And of course, they're in Final Wars. So, unless you're Don Fry and Masakatsu Funaki, you're not remembered. Those 2, remembered forever. Anyway, said group of scientists and the archaeologists all come together, and they're studying, and they're studying, and they're studying, before they're attacked by a strange individual. Said strange individual comes out of nowhere, loud gunshots, and it actually engages in a very realistic struggle. Like, before we had many crazy action movies, and everyone was kind of well endowed and well in tune to how actual fighting kind of is, or what stylized fighting would be. I really believe this is what cops in the 1970s would be fighting as, or just regular people would be fighting as. It would be a lot of grabbing arms, some bad strikes, throwing around, struggling, trying to grab a weapon. It's pretty fair and it's pretty accurate. They fend off this attacker, and then the craziest thing happens. The mountain from the beginning of the movie starts exploding, and a giant boulder flies through the air. That boulder crashes into the ground, explodes, and out comes Godzilla. With all these movies, like, honestly, that's probably the most conventional, non-out-of-the-water entrance Godzilla's ever had. But this Godzilla's a little weird, a little query. He's not really making the same sounds, a lot of screeching. I call it, his speech impediment. He's clanking around. Something seems off. Child me had no idea. It's like I forgot what movie I was watching. I was like, what is wrong with Godzilla? What can I say? Kid me was a fucking dumbass. Kid you is a dumbass. Don't you fucking look at me like that. Don't you point the finger and say, idiot. You had your moments too. I've been watching you. Yeah, you specifically. Looking at me. I've been watching you. We're gonna have a problem. We cut to Godzilla stomping and making his way. And before who makes his appearance? Again, everyone's favorite punching bag, the lovable loser, Anguirus, shows up. And boy, does he make a scene. Basically, it's just Anguirus getting his ass kicked. It's like watching Sakuraba fight Jason Miller. Basically, Godzilla kicks the absolute dog shit out of Anguirus. And this is the point where child me is beginning to awaken to what the hell is going on here. And my mind and my innocence is being warped, because as Godzilla is just wrecking house with this poor four-legged bastard, he rips his jaw apart. Blood starts spewing out of his mouth. And child me, what? Now, mind you, I didn't see Godzilla Raids Again where Anguirus gets murdered again. But my exposure to Godzilla and all the monsters before were movies like Destroy All Monsters. Anguirus kind of kicked ass in that. He didn't get his ass kicked too bad, I think. Just watching as this four-legged armadillo crawls away like a crippled dog. 4-year-old, 5-year-old me was stunned. It really began to put into perspective, though. I was like, they really broke Anguirus' jaw like that? Child me, who's an empath, sweet little me, I was like, is Anguirus okay? They're gonna follow up on him, right? They did not follow up on Anguirus. He's just like that now. His jaw is unhinged. He's like a snake. I don't know. We cut back to the scientists, and they talk about a discovery. In the middle of the fight with Anguirus, this Godzilla got a cut, and there was a strange silver metal underneath it. Again, child me had no idea. Could not connect the two. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Shiny metal. I don't know what's wrong with that Godzilla. And the scientists connect it to some kind of metal that they found in the cave. And they call it the most original name that you could ever call it. They call it space titanium. Space titanium. Because it's titanium. From space. Insert Dragon Ball abridged joke here. But the main question is, since this is probably not the real Godzilla, how do we get the real Godzilla into this Godzilla movie? We already blew the great idea of having it just appear out of, a rock. So what if we have him appear out of, say, a building? This motherfucker just appears bursting out of a building. We just have to accept that. The characters exclaim, shocked, oh, 2 Godzillas! I really just forgot that there was, silver plating under the other Godzilla. Gee, what was the name of that movie again? Coincidence. Anyways, these two slug it the fuck out, and it eventually ends up with Godzilla getting 2 heat rays, 2 atomic breaths, bam, right on this motherfucker. The spaceman, Q. The greatest entry of a robot I've ever seen in a movie. Not discotheque, not heavy metal, which would be levels of irony, considering, Mechagodzilla, he gets some swinging ass jazz. Mechagodzilla makes his full appearance, swinging amazing jazz music behind him. And it is the kind of jazz music that hits harder than heroin hits a fucking drummer. So, Mechagodzilla makes his full appearance, and then the title became very clear to childhood me. It was Mechagodzilla. I think my dad hated me as a kid. I don't know. And it's here that we begin to discover the absolute bullshit that is Mechagodzilla's powers. What's that? Oh, he's got eye lasers? Okay. Him and Godzilla trade the eye lasers and atomic breath. Pretty cool to watch. What's that? Oh, that's not all. Mechagodzilla has rocket fingers? You know what? Perfectly fair. That's fine. Mechagodzilla has toe rockets? Alright. Knee rockets. Okay. Yeah, their 2 breaths collide with each other, a massive explosion, Godzilla's thrown into the ocean, and Mechagodzilla 2 is thrown into buildings. It was a tie. Or was it? Mechagodzilla gets up, and what do we cut to with Godzilla? Is my Godzilla bleeding? Is my impenetrable, undefeatable Godzilla, is he dead? My Godzilla, my favorite monster that I would always cheer for and scream for, he was bleeding. What happens next? Godzilla can bleed? What, can he die? Again, forgetting Godzilla in 1954. Again, forgetting Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Again, forgetting Godzilla 1999. We cut forward to Mechagodzilla on a stand in, obviously, the alien lair. Which, again, is just a premonition towards all of the merchandising that Toho would totally not abuse Godzilla on, and does to this day in every Godzilla store you go to in Shibuya or Shinjuku, or honestly, any Don Quixote. Oh god, the Don Quixote music's in my head. And then we cut directly back to our protagonists, the ones you don't remember their names, but basically the dialogue and the narrative drives to, we gotta get the statue back to Zumi Castle. Why? King Caesar. Got it? Got it. The main professor and his daughter and random other dude all get captured, and basically they enlist our friendly doctor to help fix Mechagodzilla. Fair enough. But they take the daughter and the friend to a chamber. What kind of chamber? The Death Chamber. They built a room just called the Death Chamber. These guys are pretty up there with all the crazy fascists of our own history. They're not even trying to, dress it up. They just say Death Chamber. That's how you know these guys are serious. This leads us back to, well, thank God, Godzilla, who is actually not dead, but he's back on Monster Island. And what's he doing on Monster Island? Well, Godzilla's going into his training arc, which lasts about, 2 minutes of him just eating lightning and eventually turning Super Saiyan M. No, the M doesn't stand for anything. What do you look at me like I have some bad joke? Fuck off, go to the next bit. Fuck you. By the way, I think Godzilla canonically learned that he could abuse lightning for some kind of training method from King Kong. Like, that bit from Godzilla versus Kong is canon. I'd say it is. If you want to argue about it, argue below, please. I'm going to read, and I totally won't read the comments out loud in another video. This leads us towards our protagonists, who are trying to get the statue to Izumi Castle. The aliens grab the statue and make a dash for it. There's a struggle, a bit of a fight, and then the alien gets hurt and turns into a monkey. I don't know why. By the way, those masks are not good. You can literally see the human teeth in them. But God, I just love how bad and campy it looks. Said alien, I'm going to call him Donkey Kong, gets shot by a random person who saves one of our characters. Sure, why not? We don't know who it was. And this leads us back to Japanese Anton. Japanese Anton is apparently not a bad guy. Look at them subverting my expectations to a movie that wasn't even released yet. Meeting this individual, who was apparently from Interpol, by the way. I want to talk about this. The Godzilla movies led me to believe that Interpol was this fantasy, science-based organization that was only in the Godzilla movies. It only took, me going to college to find out that Interpol was actually, an actual force in the world that we live in today. So my poor bumpkin Midwestern ass was getting his mind blown realizing that the things from the Godzilla movie, some of them are actually true. Titanium is an actual metal. This leads to us seeing the doctor and his daughter and the friend all being put into the death chamber together. And this death chamber, let me tell you, it is quite a gas. It activates, a red light comes on. They're going to steam our characters to death. No, not steamed yams. Steamed mans. Steamed yams? No, I said steamed mans. Luckily, our friendly Interpol comes and saves the day, saving our allies and shooting these aliens in the fucking face. I kid you not. Again, this is child me. I'm watching as these people that I'm supposed to be cheering for are just pulling guns and shooting these aliens in the face, and they're just spewing black blood out of their eyes. Peak cinema, kind of traumatizing. You take what you can get. Our characters take the statue, avoiding getting blown up in a car like in a bad mobster movie. They place a statue up on the pedestal after fending off some of our alien enemies. The red moon glistens onto the statue, exploding a mountain, revealing our fourth monster. The one, the only, King Caesar. King Caesar makes his appearance, and what is King Caesar? He's a dog. He's literally a dog. He looks like this. Think this, but bigger, and bad kung fu skills. Hit a kung fu pose. Wah, hoo-ha, hoo-ha, wah-cha. That's some great form there, kiddo. But of course, just like a regular dog, any dog, even if you're a god of the dogs, King Caesar is still sleeping. He is out. Even though there was a giant explosion around him, this bitch-ass dog is still snoozing. The aliens tell Mechagodzilla, kill that fucking dog. The aliens are PETA. You're not going to adopt that dog, we got to kill that dog. Luckily, though, we have our sweet priestess who totally does not do what is the equivalent of a Mothra song, but to King Caesar, singing King Caesar over and over and over. That goes on for about 2 to 3 minutes. I legitimately went to the bathroom and came back, she was still singing. But all of a sudden, King Caesar wakes up, oh my god, and the fight finally begins. Some fisticuffs are thrown. But the best thing is when Mechagodzilla tries to shoot the eye lasers at King Caesar. And King Caesar literally does the no you. He does the reverse Uno of dodging energy attacks and legitimately shoots that fucking eye laser right back into Mechagodzilla's face. And I don't even think that robot was ready for it. He's like, what the fuck? What kind of bullshit power is this? However, Mechagodzilla is a robot and he learns. Again, he shoots the eye laser. King Caesar pulls out the reverse Uno card. But Mechagodzilla matrix dodges that shit and then uses his greatest weapon that's not the eye laser. Finger rockets, bitch. Lights the fuck out of King Caesar, and King Caesar literally goes into hiding like a dog who just got scolded for pissing in the house. Ain't that right, dog? Uh-huh. He doesn't piss in the house, but I gotta make a point for the movie. It's to the point where Mechagodzilla is just straight up Karate Kid kicking the fuck out of King Caesar. He's got lots of karate chops. He's shoving his rocket fingers into King Caesar's mouth. I'm fully expecting Mechagodzilla just to blow off King Caesar's head at this point. His hand is down King Caesar's throat. I think it might be King Caesar's kink, actually, but it might be more just trying to get some kind of food or a chicken bone out of a dog's mouth. Get the fuck out of there! King Caesar gets to eat that chicken bone because as he goes back to hiding, finally, Godzilla makes a proper entrance in a Godzilla movie. He bursts forth out of the water. Godzilla and Mechagodzilla square off, and what happens? Godzilla has friendly fire on and just blasts King Caesar because he misses Mechagodzilla with an atomic breath. I am kidding you not. Is literally the first thing he does in this fight. And what does Godzilla do in response? Darn. Literally what he does. You can watch the movie. Watch the movie. He literally goes, darn. That's why I love these era movies. Unabashedly goofy, but still taken seriously. God, I wish movies were like that, you know. Silly content, but you take it at full face value like it's life or death. Even the humans take it very seriously. They're looking on with awe and concern. There's no ha ha he he, look at me, I'm in a Godzilla movie, wink wink, nudge nudge. They're looking on like legitimately it is life or death. That is why I liked these Godzilla movies. Even though they're very silly, the human characters still acted like it was a very serious threat. So it gives a little bit of levity when you cut to the big goofy monster slugging it out. But you do get invested in the plot just because, again, the characters are locked in. They are so locked in. It gets better when they get to the Heisei era, and it's legitimately the same thing, but less goofy character stuff, less goofy monster stuff. It's just a more serious time all around. Again, the 80s. 80s Godzilla, peak. Heisei, I adore you. I love you. Mwah. But it's here that our friendly friends, the two kaiju, King Caesar and Godzilla, they begin to realize that, man, Mechagodzilla's kind of bullshit, isn't he? Mechagodzilla turns his head, looks at King Caesar, and his body is facing forward at Godzilla, and as the two try to charge, they both just get blasted. And there's no stop at the blasting. Legitimately, rockets, toes. Oh yeah, he's got a chest laser, by the way. Oh yeah, he still has his eye lasers. Oh, did you know that actually Mechagodzilla can fly? Yeah, all this bullshit's starting to add up. Oh, and one more thing. This son of a bitch, this plot armor ridden motherfucker has a force field on top of all the shit that he has. This just leads to, Mechagodzilla giving King Caesar and Godzilla actual Vietnam War flashbacks. Like, if you cut in Fortunate Son, you know what? I'm just going to do that. Here is Godzilla and King Caesar getting their ass murdered to Fortunate Son. Mechagodzilla then singles out our dearly beloved Godzilla and just blasts him with lasers. Now Godzilla again is bleeding. That's right, childhood icon Godzilla is just bleeding out of his mouth. And then Mechagodzilla shoots more rockets at him, and the rockets embed themselves into Godzilla, who is lying prone, seemingly unmoving, bleeding. And I'm not talking just a little bit of bleeding. He gets shot with the laser and starts spurting blood out of his neck. Again, the child in me is just like, you can't do that to my childhood friend. Just wait till you get the Shin Godzilla, kid. Then Godzilla's just straight up body horror. Thanks, Hideaki Anno. At this point, you think Godzilla's dead. But it's a ruse. You forgot that our boy was training on Monster Island. Our beloved Kaiju King has hit a peak form that has never been done in a million years. It's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of event. Godzilla pulls together, brings his arms close, lets loose a Tyrannus roar, and he enters Super Saiyan Magnet. I feel so bad. I was trying to think of a joke for this. The joke's right there. He literally becomes a fucking magnet. What do you want from me? Electrical towers cling to him. Mechagodzilla gets his ass slowly pulled, and it's the greatest test of strength ever. Godzilla's reeling him in. And he gives him the best bear hug since Bruno Sammartino, holding him nice and tight. And finally, King Caesar actually does something other than pull a reverse Uno card. King Caesar begins training as an offensive tackle for the New York Giants. He shoulder tackles and shoulder tackles and shoulder tackles, damaging Mechagodzilla, who apparently is really prone to shoulder tackles. Before Godzilla finally delivers the killing blow, grabbing his neck and snapping it. Like Steven Seagal. But the funny thing is, Godzilla is more real and has sold more tickets than anything Steven Seagal's ever done. Godzilla could also probably win in a fight. Aikido's bullshit. Godzilla has slain Mechagodzilla. What happens now? Well, let me tell you. King Caesar goes back into his hole. Legitimately just goes back into his hole. Mountain blows up again. Somehow covers him. And we don't see his ass again until Final Wars. And Godzilla swims away. All the aliens get killed. They become monkeys as they die. That's the movie. Now, is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla a piece of art? Yes. Is it very silly beyond belief? Yes. Is it also traumatizing to a small child to see his favorite characters pissing blood out of their neck. I don't think I'm wrong for having a momentary awakening to seeing Godzilla bleeding. It's not very often that you have one of your favorite characters pissing blood out of their neck, like their neck just got slit. To a 4 or 5-year-old, that's a lot to take in. Though then, there is that baby getting swallowed by the sludge in Godzilla vs. Hedorah. Could be worse. But I still look back at this movie, now that I've watched it again, and it's really fun. It's got a tone. It's a little campy, of course. You've got ape monkey aliens with fake bad masks where you can see their human teeth underneath. Kind of jumps the level and edge just with the random blood. Like, I still don't know what that's about. One of the aliens getting shot in the eye really made me do this while I was watching the movie just recently. But it's still a really fun movie. Like, I really want to show this to my kids one day. I want to show this to my future girlfriend or my future wife one day and be like, you want to know why I am the way I am? This is why. Anyways, I don't think I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I'm just, a casual partaker. My name's Akira. I'm a professional wrestler, and I have scars all over my body.